Hi, I'm Yeleni Kushin. I played Barriss Offee in Star Wars Episode 2 Attack of the Clones, and you're watching the Virtual Cantina Network.
Commence primary ignition.
Happy Wednesday!
It's Wednesday, which I'm glad you said that, because if I had started with that, I would have had to seriously think about what day it was. Except I know that we only ever go live on Wednesdays, so
It's fine. It's fine.
My mistake. Just make it up as I go.
Happy April.
But yeah, it's apparently Wednesday. Yeah, and it's April. It's April.
And this weather feels like December.
I mean, allegedly it's April. I mean, depending on where you are, it may not feel like April.
Yeah, I'm
So,
freaking freezing. It's cold here.
Yeah,
cold where you are too, which is super bad.
I'm like literally wearing a sweatshirt right now. I should tell you. I mean, that, and I just really like sweatshirts, but
a very stylish one. I love that.
You know, it glows in the dark, but we won't be testing that theory right now because otherwise,
it's fine. It will be dark.
Just see me. Yeah, I heard my old stomping grounds up north are expected to get like 24 inches of snow tonight, and I'm like,
yeah.
Oh.
I mean, yay for the skiers, but Jesus, that's enough.
But see, like, does it even count if we get the snow? Like, global warming is so weird because, like, they'll get 24 inches of snow, and like back in my day when I was young, like 24 inches of snow would take like weeks to melt. And now I feel like 2 days later, everyone's like, okay, well, we had like a 75-degree day and all this snow is gone.
All the snow evaporated. It's fine. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I remember, like, maintenance in for some fun.
I mean,
hi, Lila.
Yeah. There's a reason why. Listen, I love my New England friends. There's a reason why I left New England. Like, I'm a California girl at heart, and New England was always hard for me. But yeah, once I moved away from snow and ice, I was like, man, I don't know how I survived all those years.
I still don't know how I survived. I've been here most of my life, and it's just, California.
I mean, the wardrobe choices are very obvious, right? Because you're freezing, like in actual freezing temperatures and wearing a t-shirt, and I'm in like 70, like low 70 degrees, and I'm like, but I'm so cold. I'm so cold.
Thins your blood out. It's terrible.
It really does.
It's cold and wet here.
I'm like a lizard.
Same, buddy.
Like a lizard. You know where it's not cold and the weather's actually really beautiful? California, where they just had WonderCon.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Like
WonderCon looked so fun this year. It looked like so many people, like my friends from Florida went to WonderCon.
Yeah, if I were still like of the con going persuasion, I feel like WonderCon would probably be one on my list. And I feel like it's a show that's like growing really fast. They constantly are getting like
it's
really
less chaotic than San Diego.
Yeah.
But it's
less chaotic than San Diego.
So
right. And like they still get all these like incredible artists, they get all these incredible guests. They had a whole bunch of like merch reveals and exclusives.
X-Men 97 cast were there.
Yeah. So I just I feel like if I was a con going person, WonderCon would probably be on my list. And it's like right there in Anaheim. So like go to Disneyland afterwards.
Absolutely.
Walk up the street. Northern Illinois.
Yeah.
Now wearing t-shirts and shorts. Maybe you're just stronger than I am. Maybe that's what it comes down to.
Yeah. I have friends who wear shorts like all year long. And I think like they're made of stronger stock than me. Because I'm cold. I'm cold right now. But like, I don't know. I just really like this shirt. It's cool.
I don't know. Tis the season when we're going to start to be like sweating everywhere here in Florida.
Yeah. So I'm just enjoying it before the deep burn.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, we have some
the way of things.
Other than the weather, we have some news this week. Got some stuff dropping for the VCN family vacation.
Yeah. I'm trying. So yeah, there's a lot of VCN stuff announced this week for family vacation, and also like a ton of celebration news just got like dumped on us,
which is awesome.
Yeah, let's start with what we know. So the VCN,
Boon to Eve
Ashley.
Special Edition, The Heroes of the Filoniverse. That will be taking place at the Scum and Villainy Cantina in LA. We got some people joining us for that. Nelson Lee, also known as Chopper's public enemy number 1. Senator Giono, he will be there. You can catch him on July 29th. He'll be joined by Pam Riddle and Warren Prolu. Sorry, I'm butchering your name. Pro Jr., who is a stunt double for Obi-Wan and those amazing, scary Night Sister resurrected stormtroopers that Thrawn had with him. So that was pretty cool. They will be there with Lauren Mary Kim and Michelle Lee, stunt doubles for Ahsoka, Casca Reeves, the armorer, and yeah, make sure you go meet those ladies. They're badass too. It's going to be amazing. And then at Biggs in Anaheim, well, outside of Anaheim in Fullerton, the Galaxy's Most Wanted Special Edition will be taking place. Make sure you go to that. And at Ireland's 3-2 in San Francisco, we're going to have the creators of the Star Wars universe. So people who have worked on Star Wars, be joining them in San Francisco at Ireland's for that event. So make sure you guys jump on the family vacation. There are less than 15 tickets remaining.
Less than 15.
5. So make sure you get
5
as soon as possible. Yes.
Friendly reminder, if y'all are joining us, we're so happy to see you guys in the chat. Just make sure that you sign in. We don't know who you are.
Yeah, make sure you go to StreamYard.com/Facebook and sync your Facebook to that so we can see who you are. We love you. We want to see your faces.
We want to talk to you. But right now, we don't know if that's just one Facebook user or if that's like 6 different Facebook users. So we just want to know who we're chatting with.
Absolutely. And try to get on there at least once a week to kind of sync up, because I know StreamYard does kind of poop out after a week and boot you off. So make sure you're staying up with that so we can talk to you.
Also on the convention circuit, I know we started talking about it's Notman. That checks out.
Hi, John.
Hi, Notman. Hey. Is it raining by you? It's raining by me, friend. We started out talking about WonderCon. A whole bunch of Hasbro previews were debuted at WonderCon. I feel like this is very relevant to us because like most of them were Rebels related.
Which is freaking. How long have we been waiting for things like this? How long?
It's been a minute. I feel like it's been a minute. I don't know, like 10 years, maybe?
Roughly.
I don't know.
But what do they got, Jamie?
So, I mean, I only looked real quick because, listen, this week has been stupid, crazy bananas, and I barely logged into anything this week. But I know that we're getting a couple of the vintage figures. So it looks like we're getting Kanan and we're getting Ezra. And then I saw that they're doing an edition of Zeb. But he's in like a different box. And listen, I'm not like much of a Hasbro action figure girly. So like I just collect the ones that I wanted. But I'm a little irked that they're in 2 different boxes. Why is that? Ashley, tell me. I don't collect action figures. So this is like out of my wheelhouse.
So why is it a different box than the others?
Yeah, so like the I can't even reach it. I was gonna say I have it looks like the Kanan and Ezra are in like the vintage like blister pack looking backing cards, and Zeb is in a box.
He might come with more stuff. Let me check.
Maybe. I don't know, but either way, they all look great. Of course, yeah, merchandising. Listen, every time I see somebody wear a Spaceball t-shirt at Galaxy's Edge, it warms my cold, dead heart, and I love it so
I have
much.
a confession to make. I made this confession to my boyfriend last night.
Please tell me you've seen it. Oh, sis.
I saw Spaceballs years before I saw Star Wars.
Oh.
Years. I was 6 years old, 6 or 7 when I saw Spaceballs. I think I was 18 when I saw Star Wars for the first time.
Wow. Yeah. That's a bold confession. I'm proud of you.
My boyfriend was just like,
wow.
Like he just had no words. Blank. Like, all right, I'm looking at the Zeb figure right now. He looks fresh. I love him. He's our Zeb.
Canonically, Spaceballs happens before A New Hope.
Oh, so he's got the Sabine box.
That's what I'm saying. Is like, yeah, they did the live action Sabine in the same box, and I'm like, low-key annoyed that nothing is going to match. I don't
just
know.
want to see what he comes with. Like it just depends. Right now I'm just seeing his weapon and the little like effects that come with it.
Yeah.
So
I
it
mean,
looks like he just
either
comes with like
way,
a bunch of small pieces and they don't want to like put it in those things,
listen, Hasbro knows they've already got me, so it doesn't matter what box they put it in.
which is a thing. Yeah, because it's like, okay.
Oh, he fancy. He fancy. I'm glad that Zeb's getting some love. I feel like whenever they merchandise Rebels, it's like Zeb.
Oh, well,
Actually, I was going to say Zeb is
depressing.
always the last one that they merchandise, but Hera is usually the last one they merchandise. Oh no.
So
What?
Impulse, Ezra, and
Oh.
Kanan are sold out. Terrible. But Zeb is still available for pre-order, as is Mama Nadon, our little Ithorian guy.
We love it. I mean, I'm sad that they're sold out, but also financially, I guess I'm not that sad about it.
I mean,
but either
there
way,
are
they
other
look great.
places we can get them, which is fine.
They look great.
Yes, I'm sorry, Notman. I am so sorry. Like, okay, but to be fair, I grew up in an era where I was watching like the PSAs with 3PO and R2 about non-smoking. Like that was always on my TV. That was my first
it's
like
canon.
thrown into Star Wars. I was like, oh, those are cool, and I like how that guy is British. That shiny gold bot is British. It was just really cool. And I stole my sister's little R2 figure, and that was it. But yeah. The other David is right. Zeb has always had a different box. His Black Series is different from all the others except Jar Jar. Yeah, because he's so much bigger than the other figures. And they kind of packaged him as a deluxe when they finally did give it to us in Black Series format. So, yeah.
I think the other big thing, and I don't know if this was announced at WonderCon or if it was announced just before, but now I'm like, you got me thinking about these action figures I don't collect. If anybody was at WonderCon, maybe you can confirm, deny. But I also saw that they're doing a Last Command box set. And listen, I'm like deep in this Legends nonsense right now. And I'm like, the last thing I need are these action figures. But hello, it's like Luke, Mara, Evil Luke, and Jorah Seabob.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
all in one box. With a fancy cover.
Yeah, like I've got no room for this, but it looks like really cool, and I was really into that. Listen, it's bold of you to say, Notman, that I did anything with a lightsaber, considering that the longest running joke with the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge Discord is that I'm the only person that works at these lightsaber events and never actually brings a lightsaber to the event.
All four together for like $99, Dave says.
Well.
It's happening. Also, did you see at the parks that Ezra's lightsaber is 30% off? I don't know if it is on West.
Don't tell me that. Don't tell me that. I bought all those full price, and I'm now.
I did too, but it's fine. Like I'm fully accepting it as long as it gets into the hands of more fans. I'll take it.
Notman, I'm not gonna lie. I don't remember any of this.
How hard were you hitting Oga's?
Not very.
Yeah.
Not very, but I don't remember any of that happening. But listen, if you have photos to prove it, I believe you, dude. I've done all sorts of stupid shit at Hollywood studios. So yeah, that sounds about right. Of course he has photos. Yeah. We'll recreate it on the 27th. We've got plenty of time to recreate some chaos at these lightsaber events. Yeah, so I guess that'll be the last little plug I'll make before we actually start the content of our show.
Yes. The badass
lightsaber meetups coming up on both coasts. I know we they're not hosted by the VCN, but we partner and we love our friends over at the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge Discord quite a bit. So we have a lightsaber event coming up on April the 20th. Right on May the 4th with your own lightsaber meetup at Batu West. So 2 events coming up. They're a lot of fun. You can meet up and hang out with like-minded nerds. Bring your lightsabers. We do lots of great photos. And it's also just kind of a fun yes.
Without me.
It's also just sort of a fun opportunity to meet like with other makers, because lots of the lightsaber builders and lightsaber makers will come, and you can see all sorts. That's where I saw held my first Stellan Geos lightsaber and almost ran off with it. So yeah, lots of cool things going on at these events. They are free. You have to get into the park, so I guess they're not really free, but you don't have to pay extra.
No additional fees.
Matters. Yeah. Till Disney decides that they want them, and then in which case it's out of our hands. But definitely come hang out with us. Apparently, I had a dual-bladed lightsaber and kicked Notman's ass, but come full circle on the 27th. It'll be good stuff. Right. Any other announcements? Any other news? I can't even.
I'm thinking. New episode of The Bad Batch dropped today, and X-Men 97. Haven't
yeah,
watched
X-Men
yet.
97.
Haven't watched either yet, but I am all caught up, and I'm just telling you, this season is going to wreck me, like badly. I am
like
dreading
there's a
this
bad
ending.
Joke there.
Ha!
How does that? I don't know.
I
don't know.
Yes. A little bit of pun. I get punny sometimes. But yeah, so as we say, it is a spoiler-free network, so make sure if you've seen it, don't post any spoilers for 2 days till the Thursday night watch along when they go through it. Bad Batch will wreck us all. Yes, Mark.
The best news about being spoiler-free on this network is you can't spoil what you haven't seen, so I'm a safe space.
Amy's, yeah. We're aiming for a safe space. The aim is there.
Oh, how many episodes are left? I feel like this season has just been long.
Because they keep dropping too. Okay, yeah, John, I'm in trouble. I'm in danger. So I won't be sleeping tonight. I'm gonna watch that before I take my cold meds and pass out. But yeah,
it's overrated. Sleep is overrated. You're fine.
Yeah,
you're fine. 10 and 11 today.
Oh, and wait a minute. They only did 15 episodes. Oh no.
Is it 15 episodes? 15 total. So you've got 4 episodes after this.
I'm not okay, you guys. I'm not okay.
Oh, it ends on May 1st. Okay. See, I'm so out of the loop with the Bad Batch. Listen, one day I will come back through and I will watch all of them and I will not be like a crybaby and whiny about it. It just didn't do anything for me. And
no, you're allowed to love what you love. It's fine. This is a safe
space. Yeah.
You know.
Unapologetically. it's not for me.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
So we are going to get into the topic of our show this week, the badass, the queen of the blue milk, our beloved Beru White Sun Lars. Give it up for
Beru. I can't help but look at that's the photo of young Aunt Beru that we use.
That's the Obi-Wan photo. That's
I know.
I'm a blast you, Inquisitor. You ain't taking my nephew.
Yeah, so when we approached this episode and we were like really kicking around characters to do, I think we both kind of agreed that we really wanted to do an Aunt Beru episode, but it was a tricky thing because really Aunt Beru is like one of those characters in Star Wars that she doesn't have a ton of screen time. Mm-hmm. There's not really a lot of extra content, insofar as like books and comics, video games, and there's really not a ton of extra stuff there. And yet she's a character that has such a profound impact on the whole trilogy, the original trilogy, and really the whole sort of cycle of the galaxy in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And yet she's given, in my opinion, so little celebrity, attention, so yeah, we're gonna kind of go through her as a character and the impact and talk a little bit about her kind of full circle moment, which is weird because it's full circle going back in time with her appearance in Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah.
So yeah, where do we want to start? How do you want to start? Let's get started.
So I guess we can start with how she met Owen Lars, how she came to be involved with the Skywalker family, because as many of you know, getting involved with the Skywalkers,
it's just such a bad choice.
Yeah, questionable. Absolutely questionable.
So many red flags. You see the last name Skywalker just turn heel and walk away.
Oh yeah.
So Beru married Owen. The whole double first name last name thing kind of throws me off. Who is the stepbrother of none other than Anakin Skywalker. So I mean, she's kind of doomed from the start.
Yeah. So when she went to Watto's junk shop, Watto's repair shop, she met his slave Shmi, and she introduced Shmi to moisture farmer Cleglars, who is Owen's father.
Mhm.
And her and Owen fell in love. Shmi and Klieg fell in love. It was just a happy time on Tatooine, I guess. And until Shmi's son came back and, you know, tried to save her from those terrible, terrible, you know, Tusken Raider people. It's bad. you know. Let's see. So I'm going through the list. Um, let's see. So it says, according to the Wikipedia, it says that she served blue milk and cheese to everyone. She wanted to be a restaurateur. She wanted to open her own restaurant.
So the best sort of window into this era in Beru's life is actually in this book. So we talk about like unsung heroes and we talk about characters that really don't get their moment of celebrity. I have to tell you that I have so greatly enjoyed these from a certain point of view books, because the whole point of these books, for those of you who haven't read them, those of you who are unfamiliar with them, which knowing this audience is probably very few of you, because I suspect that all of you have these and all of you have read these, is that they're meant to kind of shine a light on those sort of background characters or those characters that don't get a ton of screen time, to give them some new perspective and to share some new sort of frame them in a different way, or from a certain point of view, of course.
Right.
So there is a very short story in here, and when I say very short story, it is literally like 3 pages long, so you can read it in less than 5 minutes. And the story is literally called Beru White Sun Lars, and it talks about it's a first person story written by Beru, or not written by Beru, but from Beru's point of view after her death. So she's kind of doing a lot of sort of retrospective look at her life and talking about how she kind of got to this point where, she was murdered in her home by stormtroopers setting the place on fire. But the line that really stuck out with me, because I picked it up and I reread it just before the show, just because, again, at 4 pages, it was really easy to kind of just knock out before we went live today.
That's kind of appalling that it is so short to me. Like,
it is. It's written by Meg Cabot, and it starts on
she's
page
awesome. Writer of the Princess
89.
Diaries.
Starts on page 89 and it ends on page 92. So I mean, and the typeface on this is, it's not small, so it's an easy read. But there's a line in here where she says, "I was born to make people feel good when everything around them seemed just awful." And I don't know what it was about that line, and I'll read it again, but like it really stuck with me in such a profound way, because it's such a simple statement from a woman who is not terribly complicated when it comes to the Star Wars galaxy. In this time frame, we're seeing characters like Padme Amidala, who has this incredibly complex sort of lineage and mission, and we're seeing characters like even Shmi Skywalker, who has a lot going on. I mean, she's a slave and then ends up having Anakin, and with a Force daddy. So there's a lot going on, but Beru is just really sort of a simple, straightforward character. She's the wife of a moisture farmer, so the line again is, "I was born to make people feel good when everything around them seemed awful."
And that's what we can tell right away from her if we watched, like, A New Hope. She's the first comforting thing that we see with Luke. Like, making sure he's eating, making sure he's getting his chores done, just being a mother figure to him when he really didn't have it. So I kind of hoped that he would. Yeah, she's a natural caretaker. Thank you, Bart.
Yeah, she's a natural caretaker, and she talks about how, in this, again, in 4 pages, 3.5, 4 pages, it's such a insightful look at her, because she talks about how she only ever wanted Luke to have everything that he wanted. And she wanted him to go to the Imperial Academy, and she wanted him to, succeed, because that's what he wanted. And in the story, she talks about how, if he had just gone to the Imperial Academy, then she wouldn't be dead. They would have survived, because at that point, the stormtroopers wouldn't have had an interest in them. They wouldn't have gotten all tangled up with this whole, plans to the Death Star.
No, they would have seen the last name Skywalker and just been like, ugh.
I mean, you know, and he probably would have done just fine in the Imperial Academy. Um,
Yeah.
just fine. Um,
Now,
but that's go
total
ahead.
side note from Beru. Does anyone else feel like Uncle Owen just constantly gave Luke the side eye, like about everything? Like,
I
just
mean, growing,
watching you. I
yeah.
know what your dad was like watching you.
But even with that, in this story, she talks about how, Luke has inherited all of the best aspects, sorry, the worst aspects of his father, but in the best way possible. And I think that's such an incredible moment of clarity because it's so
Yeah.
easy to look at a character like Anakin and be like, look at all the awful he's done. But at the end of the day, he was just a child. When growing up on Tatooine, like Anakin was just a kid. I'm a person and my name is Anakin. I think
Yeah.
about that all the time.
He strove to be above his station, and I think um Owen and Beru both realized that when they adopted Luke. Like, he's got bits of his father in him, and it was Owen's job to make sure that it wasn't the worst, and it was Beru's job to foster the good. And I think they both did a phenomenal job in that.
Yeah, and really, I mean, eh, she gave Luke so much of what Anakin really never had, right? She gave him, a very traditional sort of family upbringing, in a lot of ways, whereas Anakin's was very I'm not even gonna read that comment.
Uh, uh,
Anakin's upbringing was very fractured. I mean, he was a slave and he grew up in these terrible circumstances in a very atypical sort of life, whereas Luke kind of grew up and we joke about how Leia was doing all the crazy like heavy lifting and Luke was playing with toys and almost shooting a lightsaber in his eye, on Tatooine because he, he was just grown up. He grew up very simply and very, you know,
I find
by
most
his
kids
accounts, probably
on
boring.
planets like Tatooine, they're just always dreamed about something more. And the weirdness about not changing his name to protect him, where Leia became Leia Organa,
Mm,
it's if he had gone to the Imperial Academy, trust me, that last name would have been like either snuffed out or like just completely snatched up by Palpatine.
yeah. Um, the other thing I loved about this story because I think we see in the very end of the prequel trilogy, we see Obi-Wan handing Luke over to Beru, um, as the kids are kind of being rehomed and separated. And, in that moment, you can kind of infer a lot of things because they're a young couple and they're being handed this baby, and you're like, all right, this kid's going to grow up okay and everything. But what the story touches on, which I think is I think it makes it a little bit more impactful and it kind of really deepens that love that Beru had for Luke is that she discloses in 4 pages that they weren't able to have kids.
Infertility, yeah.
She was, they had fertility issues. So I think that also just sort of lends an extra layer of love and an extra layer of protectiveness and an extra layer of, wanting him to have all the best things in life. Because for so long, like if that was her dream to have a child,
Absolutely.
she now
Yeah.
finally gets to do that. So yeah, the story is phenomenal. It's only 4 pages. It just gives you such a deeper love for a character that you really don't see too much, or really up until Obi-Wan Kenobi, you kind of barely saw. Like she was there, and we know that she was important, but I think it drives home the fact that yes, she died and she regrets that Luke saw, you know, her and Owen's bodies and everything, but she sort of almost like the tone of the text is almost that she's kind of proud, right? She's like proud to have done her part, and in dying, she allowed him to really go out and fulfill his greater destiny, which is to, of course, save the galaxy. Um,
Absolutely.
so
I like
it
the
hits.
narrative of that. I really do. Like, Meg could have written it from any point of view. She could have gone back and written a story about young Beru. She could have done it anywhere, but it's by giving it as kind of like a Force Ghost afterthought in a way,
Mm.
or from the beyond afterward. It's
Call it a
just
Force Ghost.
we'll just call
She's
it
an honorary Force Ghost.
honorary Force Ghost because she raised Luke Skywalker. And
Gosh darn it! If Sabine can be a Jedi, so cannot Beru.
that's right. So, I honestly think that writing it from that perspective and from that timeline is just, I think it's beautiful, and it just kind of, it's like the last will and testament, so to speak, of Beru Lars.
So this was published in 2017, which means that the story, she probably wrote the story in like figure late 2015, early 2016, just between editing and publishing and everything.
Mhm.
So like that was well before the
Kenobi.
Obi-Wan Kenobi series aired. So she probably didn't have the canon aspect, or maybe she did. I don't know. Like Lucasfilm plans these things out forever in advance. So like maybe she did have some inkling
Story
that
group.
that Beru would be coming back in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, but I kind of like the idea that maybe she didn't, because I think I don't think the actions of Obi-Wan Kenobi Beru really impacted this story, and I kind of like just keeping it settled in the timeline that it's in.
Absolutely.
Also love that she wanted to own a restaurant and serve blue milk cheese.
She was like
love
the
her.
queen of like hospitality and baking
Yeah.
and making people feel comfortable and at home. Like she could have run like a really good diner on Tatooine, but she's the antithesis of scum and villainy. So
Yeah.
we're
Well,
just saying.
she even jokes about that too. She's like, yeah, she's like, for us to even go to the fertility droid, like to step foot out into Mos Eisley, you'd be like, it's all dangerous, and you'd shut up by a droid or some smuggler or something. And I was like, yeah, she gets it. She gets it. I mean, she knows.
Now the thing I loved most about her and Kenobi is, you obviously they know who Luke is. They know who his father is. They know that the Empire could be looking for him at any time. And her after you read that story and you learn that her struggles of having a baby for years and her getting an opportunity to raise Luke, and she will go to any lengths to protect him, even from like the Inquisitorius. It's she's got weapons hidden. She like it's totally a completely different side of Beru that we have ever seen. Yeah, sawed off blaster hidden in the wall. Absolutely, Dave. Um, it's a
The
side
just
of
in
Peru
case
we
blaster.
never ever thought we would ever see. Like, did I have that on my 2022 bingo card? No, I did not. But you know what? It's so fitting because here's this woman who wanted a child so badly, and she would do anything to protect him, even go up against flame-throwing stormtroopers and the Inquisitorius.
Yeah, and and I think the juxtaposition of the scenes that we get from Luke. So I think to even back this up, when we were all first watching Obi-Wan Kenobi, did you think that it was going to be a Luke-centric story and not a Leia-centric story? Because let me tell you, when I sat my butt on that couch and started watching episode 1 and started getting into like these characters, I was like, it was definitely not on my bingo card, seeing little Leia. I thought we were going to see little Luke.
Absolutely. He was on Tatooine. He was, wasting away in the desert sands, and I thought his story was going to end there. I didn't think he was going to leave Tatooine and go to Alderaan and wherever else they ended up.
Little Leia was definitely not what I expected going into the show. I really for sure thought that it was going to be like that they were going to lean into like, something with Obi-Wan watching little Luke from afar, or whatever the situation may be, or what his involvement was at that point. So I agree with John. I thought for sure it was going to be about Obi-Wan protecting little Luke. So going into that series, I thought we were going to see a lot more of Beru and Owen and the moisture farm and all of that. And we didn't. And what I love that we did see about Luke is that Luke was kind of just this like happy-go-lucky little kid. Like, he's sitting on top, like on top of the building with his little his binoculars, and he's pretending to pod race, and he's he's doing what little kids do. He's playing these imaginative games, and I think that's just such an endearing thing, because like Luke has always kind of been that just like endearing sort of teenager kid in the original trilogy.
Right. Leia was exposed to so much more, being like a senator's daughter and being involved in the rebellion at a very, very young age, as we can see here. And Luke was just kind of protected from all that. He was allowed to grow up. He was allowed to be a child when it counted. And I don't think Leia had that luxury. I
No, but
think she was thrust into it at a very young age.
what I think that these scenes do, though, those scenes where we see little Luke pretending to pod race, is that it makes it hit a lot harder, and it makes you kind of like gasp a little bit when you see the extent that Owen and Beru go to protect him. Because at that point, he's just a kid. You don't look at that little kid and be like, ah, yes, Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker. You see just a little kid being a little kid. And I think that's.
And Owen, you see love for Owen that Owen had for him to an extent, especially because he's, absolutely dishing it out to Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like, you protected his father. Yeah. So I think they both.
Owen Diggs there.
I think, Owen Diggs are the best. Honestly, I think they both fell in love with Luke, and though Owen is gruff, he meant so much to them that they were willing to do anything to protect him. And they wanted to give him the most normal, un-Jedi, un-Sith, un-Empire life possible.
Yeah. So again, I think that was kind of, in a lot of ways, just masterfully done, because by giving us that surprise of pivoting from Luke to Leia, you get a lot less Luke time. But then in showing him, you're not showing him being force sensitive, or you're not seeing him, with any sort of extraordinary power. You're just seeing him be like a little kid, so it definitely makes that love shine brighter, in my opinion, especially with Aunt Beru, when she's literally whipping a blaster off the wall and going to go fight with the Inquisitors. Cool girl, you get it.
Honestly, and we would not have the amazing Aunt Beru back in live action without having Bonnie P.S., the badass Bonnie P.S., back on TV. Now, she played Aunt Beru in Revenge of the Sith. That's when we last saw her in Star Wars. And it was great to have her back for that.
And she was young. I mean, in Revenge of the Sith, sorry, I'm still kind of dissecting Notman's comment. And yes, I agree that there's I'm my full disclosure comment here before we jump into Bonnie Pace, who we absolutely need to talk about, is that I'm actually kind of sick of the Skywalker timeline, which is part of why I've leaned so aggressively hard into the High Republic. It's just, I feel like we have exploited every little corner and every little niche and every little moment of the Skywalker timeline that we can, and the stories are just starting to be like, all right, I'm kind of over it. But I do feel like Obi-Wan Kenobi didn't get as much of the love as I really wanted it to get, because I felt like seeing these two kids as just kids, especially little Leia. Oh my God, especially little Leia. Was definitely something that I got excited for. It was definitely like an era of that Skywalker timeline that I'm like, yeah, you know what? I do want to see this. Like, I do want to see little Leia being snarky, and I do want to see little Luke, and I do want to see these Inquisitors, the rise and, I mean, eventually we kind of see the fall of the Inquisitors, but yeah, I would agree. I think it is a happy and exciting time period to be in before the shit really super duper hits the fan.
Right? Absolutely. So
anyway, Bonnie, badass Bonnie.
Badass Bonnie.
So I think she was like 16 or something like that when they were filming Revenge of the Sith. She was like young.
Yeah.
She was really young. And one of the things that I love, 16? Yeah.
Yep.
One of the things that I loved so much about her being, I mean, her performance, of course, but like also her just kind of being like this young woman on that set, is that at the last minute, George had actually changed the staging of handing over Luke. Luke was actually supposed to be handed over to Owen. And at the last minute, he changed it because he wanted the baby to be handed over to a woman. And the way my brain ran off with that, like, I was like, yeah, give him that strong female, like pass this force sensitive, this incredibly force sensitive and potentially like galaxy altering child to a strong woman, a strong young woman. And I'm sure that there's some George Lucas lore there that, maybe I'm not fully interpreting, but my brain just went absolutely feral with that change because I was like,
Yeah.
yes, I love the idea that his story with Padme ends, but then picks right back up with Beru. Oh, I
Right.
love that.
Right. And it's not, it's sad. Obviously, it's very sad. It's the death of Padme, but it's like having another strong woman protecting him and giving him a life that is not full of being dealing with like intergalactic politics and wars and life or death situations. It's the best thing you could have hoped for him.
Well, but also, like, consider the amount of just the insane amount of trust that Obi-Wan would have had to have to like pass this child off to, because like really like Bail Organa, we get it. Like he served in the Senate, like he's got all of these resources and he's got all, this massive palace and
He's Fulcrum.
caretakers, and he's Fulcrum. And he's got all of these resources at his disposal to take care of baby Leia, right? But here comes Obi-Wan out to a dust ball planet like Tatooine and is like, here's this baby. This is a really important baby. Don't fumble the baby. Like, don't. This is a really important baby.
I love this story that Ewan tells about this, of how he invited all his friends to set, and he's supposed to be riding this like the AOP for we know, but like this horse light thing, and it's just this green mound that he has to pretend he's riding, and his friends are laughing at him. He's got this fake baby in his arm, and he's trying not to drop the fake baby.
That baby save the galaxy. Don't fumble that baby.
Don't fumble the baby. We need that on a shirt.
Dave, get on it.
Get on it, Dave. But what I love the most about that scene is there's such pride on Beru's face when she takes Luke in her arms for the first time.
Yeah.
And is such strong emotion, like she finally has the child that she wanted so badly. And even Owen has such a sense of pride in that scene. Like, this is our child. We're going to protect him with everything that we have, including giving a Jedi Knight pure sass at every chance we get.
I mean, if you get the opportunity, you should never waste it. But
yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, so again, at 16 years old, the gravity of that scene from Bonnie PS is it's so quick, right? Like it's such when you look at everything that's happened in that movie up until that moment, you're like, all right, roll the credits. Like we all gotta pee. This movie's really long. Like I was out of popcorn 2 hours ago. Like let's go. So it's a pretty quick scene, but there's a lot of gravity like from that performance, and again, she's just a blip in that scene, but it really is an important one. And then years later, she's invited back to film Obi-Wan Kenobi, and now she has even said like, I would love to be involved with a season 2 of Obi-Wan Kenobi. So like, I think that
please give us a season 2.
She even said something in an interview where she said, she's like, I found that I didn't necessarily, I'm paraphrasing, but like she found that she didn't have to reach too far to perform because she just found that Beru was just a really comforting, very just a comforting, kind, strong character. And she just found that it was really easy to kind of slip back into that role for her. So I love that for her because especially I think she was like 40, 38, 39, 40, somewhere in that age when they were filming Obi-Wan. So
yeah, she's a couple years younger than me. So she was probably like 36, 37.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she was definitely older. Still looks like, look at that picture. I mean, she still looks like she looks like
an absolute
she
badass.
looks so young. But she had also been through, and we were talking about this before the show because I didn't know this, and honestly, I don't want this to become the focus of the show because it's a pretty heavy subject. But she was also a victim of the Nexium cult. So hearing her story and seeing everything that she had kind of been through and how she and her husband helped to get victims out of that cult, was pretty unbelievable. So if you have HBO, the docuseries is on HBO. It's called The Vow. I had a hard time with the pacing. I didn't like the pacing of the documentary, but I ended up reading up on the story and reading up about the survivors and everything on afterwards, just because I was so horrified and simultaneously horrified and fascinated by it. But yeah, she was a key player in freeing all of these women from the Nexium cult. And
she's a
you know,
hero.
she is, I mean, she's a hero. So when you think about this character that she's portraying, which is, you know, a hero in a lot of ways, I mean, she's a real life hero. So that, you know, it's heavy.
It's really heavy, but it was she went to Rhode Island Comic Con the year before last, and it was such an honor to meet her. She's so sweet. She was, yeah, Spencer said she was amazing. She had "Don't Mess with Beru" t-shirts for sale at her table. I forget Texas. It's all about Beru. But there's such a strength and a grace to her, and she really is. If you want to have like a real life embodiment of a character, like I feel like Bonnie is probably one of the closest I've gotten to this. Like obviously Ewan is Obi-Wan, like he's just hilarious and fun, but he's also got a sense of like a warmth and generosity to him. Um, Whereas Bonnie, she, like I said, just pure, elegant, graceful, funny. Like she was so sweet. I would love to meet her again. So if you get a chance to see Bonnie PS at any con, please do it. She's amazing.
Yeah.
And she was really excited about Kenobi, like so excited. And honestly, I don't even think like the final episodes had aired yet, or they were. I'm not sure. We'll have to check the timeline on that. But she was just absolutely so good. And no, wait, it had aired. Yeah, so that's why she had the shirts.
Time is fake, honestly. I
I
can't even
know.
remember. I'm like, what year? And
Time is a
honestly, like
construct.
the Star Wars content gets thrown at us so fast and furious these days, and I'm like, God, what year was it? Was it 27 years ago or was it 10 minutes ago? I can't even remember.
Yeah, I'm Peru Wrecking Crew. Yeah.
Yeah. So so I love that. And honestly, I would love to see them, and I don't know really in what capacity, right? Because this is a character that isn't force sensitive. This isn't a Jedi. This isn't a villain. This isn't, you know, she's by all accounts just kind of a normal woman doing, or before she died anyway, normal woman things on Tatooine, right? Like she was moisture farmer's wife. So I don't really know in what context I want to see her in next. I would, you know, was it Notman that said I would like to see her early story? Well, yeah. So Notman says I'd love to see more of an Owen and Beru backstory somehow. I don't necessarily see that as something that would be like a title show, but seeing it in the background of another show, maybe.
Like, if they do a Kenobi season 2, I would love to see, now that Owen has allowed Ben, Obi-Wan, to meet Luke, like actually instead of just stalking him from afar across the desert.
As one does.
As one does. I feel like they'll probably be a little more proactive in keeping him safe, and for anybody that comes sniffing around, fighting over painting the ceiling. Yeah.
That's at least one story arc right there.
Yeah, that's at least like a 6-episode miniseries.
That's hilarious.
But I would really love to see that. I would really love to see Owen and Beru work with Obi-Wan more closely. And, you know, Luke is an inquisitive little kid. He's an inquisitive teenager, as we see him later on, like, oh, lightsaber. But
right in the eye.
right in the eye. But we just kind of, I would love to see them working more closely together to protect him. So that would be exciting for me.
And it's interesting too, because even as I prepped for the show and was starting to like really kind of go through some of my content, and I only rewatched one of the Kenobi episodes just because this week was bonkers. But going through the list of media that she appears in, it's kind of, there's not a lot. I mean, it really just says like indirect mention only, mentioned only, indirect mention, like character is dead at this point. So it's not really, aside from this short story, she doesn't really cameo in much else, which is a shame. But to kind of bring up what we've talked about, is it does leave the door open for there to be more. The question becomes, you know, are we happy with where her character is right now? And are we happy with the gravity of this character? And we're really happy with the story arc that she has? Or are we going to this always sounds so negative when I say it this way, and I don't mean it to sound negative, but like, are we going to leave nothing to the imagination and literally shine a light on every corner of every character in a
That is
galaxy far,
true.
far away
Mhm.
and beat the dead horse, which I never want to see happen.
Yeah,
I'm looking
exactly.
at
Like, is
you.
it necessary? Is it not necessary? Like, I just, you know, these are the people that were important in Luke Skywalker's upbringing, and they were the people that literally sacrificed their lives to protect Luke. Yes, retcon. I still like have a hard time believing that Owen and Beru went down that hard. Like, it's just I'm sorry. I'm sorry. As soon as I read that, I was just like, you know, they're onto something.
The-
Go ahead, say it, Jamie.
no,
Say it.
it's only made me more. I don't want to say disenfranchised. That's a strong word, but as you know, and as the people that hang out with us every 2 weeks know, I am dedicating 2024 to either reading or rereading all of the Legends books, and it's going very well. Thanks for asking. We're at book number 24 of this year, and it's only the first week of April, so like I am flying through these books.
Hey,
But
perfect for you.
what I'm learning as I reread or read for the first time some of these books is that some of them are absolute dreck and really are not good books. They're not good stories, and they didn't necessarily need to be in the canon timeline. But I'm realizing that there were so many incredible stories and characters that just got retconned, and I don't feel like they deserved it.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of very strong feelings about the retconning of certain things and the oh well, that didn't happen. We're gonna do it this way instead. And like, I get it, it's a 50-year-old franchise and things change and things happen, but
Mhm.
we've just spent the last almost hour talking about how impactful this character is and how important this character was to Luke's story, and how literally without her dying, Luke wouldn't have set off in this incredible adventure to, save the galaxy, and save the
And
Jedi
she
Order in a lot of
knew that
ways.
he wasn't going to stay on Tatooine. Like, as she said, he's got too much of his father in him to stay here. So
Right. So
Sean
I
says
think
they escaped and became pirates. The Adventures of Beru White Sun coming soon to Disney
so
Plus.
somebody from Disney Plus is writing down all these ideas right now. Like,
No,
we're important enough for an executive from Disney Plus to be watching us.
it'd be fun though. I mean,
uh,
if that did
yeah,
happen,
yeah, we could
100%
write
would
that.
watch. 100%.
Um, so I think there comes a point where we have to just say, like, the death of this character allowed us to get this incredible story, and I think Beru and Owen are really prime examples of that. Um, so if they never did anything else with her, like if they never did a season 2 of Obi-Wan Kenobi and they never wrote another story or never wrote another book or whatever about Beru, I would say that even though she is that minor character and she is, that in a lot of ways background character, I'm okay with her story, and I don't necessarily think it needs a ton more.
No, like either way, I'm happy. Like, I honestly, as you were saying earlier, Bonnie said that it was easy for her to slip back into the role, especially because she was married at that point and she was, had grown up and realized that like being a comforting presence also means protecting your family and protecting what's important to you. So um, that just gave her, and the fight she obviously went through with Nexium, it just allowed her to be strong and take on a whole new side of Burr that we just never got to see
Yeah.
before.
Yeah, and I mean that level of trauma that she endured, it kind of, again, it's a terrible thing to have to tap on, like, as an actor, to be like, do I compartmentalize this and say that this doesn't affect any of my performances? But like, it's literally a life altering thing that she went through, a very
Right.
negative life altering thing that she went through. So when you look at some of these scenes and how fiercely she is protecting, I mean, I open
She
the show being like, I
smashes
can't believe
open
we,
a wall. Like, I
yeah.
was like, "What the hell? What is
Like,
she doing?"
did
But
she draw on any of those horrific experiences and really channel that rage,
mhm.
on
And I
protecting what
think
she
having
loved?
Deborah Chow, like, as the
Mm,
director on this series, it allowed her to have a showrunner and a director that understood what trauma does to a woman,
Mm.
and that not only in real life and how it can affect their performances on a set, but just to tap into that maternal side and that caregiver next level, doing
Yeah.
anything that they can to protect the child that they have come to love as their own. Mark
Who
wants
would
to know
win a
who would win in a
fight?
fight, Aunt Beru or Darth Vader. Well, how much time does Aunt Beru have to prep?
Listen,
Well,
she put up a good fight, I think.
she fought an
Anakin, get to your
Inquisitor.
room. Go paint the ceiling. And she just like channel all of her like on
Like,
little Luke on little
excuse
Anakin.
me, that's your sister-in-law.
Yeah,
Listen,
yeah.
you force choke your wife, but it's not gonna fly with your sister-in-law.
Oh
I'm
my God.
sorry.
Oh my God.
Ugh.
Yeah, we were mapping out some of our upcoming shows, and like spoiler alert, as we get into May, we were really talking about like some of the mothers and the really maternal figures that have influenced these characters. Throw sand fight is over. No, David.
Yes!
No, Dave. No.
Yes!
Oh,
Right
I
in
guess
the
Dave just
eyes.
answered the question.
Crack that helmet open and throw it.
There it is.
Pocket
Beru
sand.
defeats Darth Vader.
Yeah.
I love King of the Hill. I love King
Yeah.
of the Hill. But yeah, as we were getting ready and mapping out some of our next shows, we were talking about like different maternal characters, and you know, of course, Bray Organa came up, and Mira Bridger came up, and Deepa Balaba came up, and you know, we were talking about all these other mothers, and I really think that the show about Beru kind of came as the right point, because this is us sort of ushering in the next couple shows that we're going to talk about. You know, these strong moms, like these strong mothers in the Star Wars, you know, galaxy far, far away. So yeah, I think this was a well-timed show for us. Now that it was an accident, but it was a well-timed show.
Yeah, honestly, I think Beru is. I think she had the highest stakes. Her and Padme really had the highest stakes as being like a maternal figure in Star Wars, because they had the future of the galaxy in their.
Don't fumble the baby.
Don't fumble the baby. And I really don't think they did. I think they did everything they could to like, between Brea and Padme, and being like prime examples, because obviously Leia knew her mother and had heard Bail and Brea speak about her mother and Obi-Wan. So she knew what she was like, could aspire to be. Whereas Luke was a dreamer, but he still had a place of love and of safety in this total wasteland. And I just think it's two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
It's love in different ways.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, when I think about, there's one of my all-time favorite, this is so embarrassing, it's like one of my all-time favorite quotes, but for the life of me I can't tell you like who said it or where it came from. It started in Latin, so it's like an old one, but it's basically keep your feet on the ground and eyes on the sky. And that's what I think about when I think about Luke, keeping his feet on the ground but eyes on the sky. And I think what grounded him was Beru.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, Owen too, I guess, but like Beru. So yeah, I think, you know, unsung hero of Star Wars. We think of her as the blue milk lady.
Now blue
And
cheese. Feet
cheese
on the ground,
lady.
eyes in the sky. Blue cheese.
Blue
Beru
cheese,
White
blue
Sun,
milk
inventor
cheese.
of blue
Yeah.
cheese.
No, we have to call it like blue milk cheese, because blue cheese is just mold. But like,
yeah, agreed.
blue milk cheese. I don't know. Maybe it's just like craft singles that are dyed blue. I don't know.
Just don't bring them to Oga's Cantina, please. We don't
can't
need that
listen.
as part of the charcuterie board. It's already bad enough as it is.
I am both shocked and disappointed that Disney hasn't capitalized on this blue milk cheese
I
yet.
think they forgot. Let's tell them. Hey, blue milk
Disney.
cheese.
Hey.
Put it with your bantha milk drink.
I don't even know. I don't know.
Like the
Anyway,
in the side of blue milk cheese. That's what I want for my Oga's food.
So yeah, you know, we hope that, you know, in the last hour or so, you've maybe given some fresh perspective or fresh eyes on Beru Lars. I don't know. This show really got me thinking about her, and now I'm like feeling all like certain kind of way about Beru. I love her.
I want to go back and watch Obi-Wan now. Like, I really do. I haven't watched it again since the first watch through, so I think it's time. And Alan hasn't seen it yet, so I might as well just start.
sit down and watch it. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I don't know. Anything else, Ashley, you want to throw in there?
Honestly, like I am excited that Bonnie came back. I am excited that she gave us a more modern take on Beru, not just, the wide 70s collar and cardigan. And
It was a look, and it's coming back.
It was a Luke. That's what it was. It was a Luke. But she honestly, I was just blown away. I was just literally blown away by the badassery that is Beru, White Sun Lars, and Kenobi. And I want to see more. Like I do. I really do. And a new shirt available on TeePublic. Yes. Make sure you get that shirt. It's so cool. Dave's had it in the works for a while.
Oh yeah. I did see that.
Yeah, you have to go on TeePublic on our virtual Cantina store and check out that shirt, along with our other Daughters of the Galaxy inspired shirts, like one Jamie has started with us.
I'm not going to throw hands with the other shows, but I am just saying I like our t-shirt collection the best.
Yeah, we're so...
See? Look at
this,
y'all.
Freaking poor shit, y'all. Just saying.
I'm just kidding. All the designs are great. All the designs are lovely. We've got great ones for the holidays on there. We've got
Pride shirts, Big Gay Explosions.
Oh
we got patriotic shirts. We got Rebels Revisited shirts. We have so much cool stuff. Make sure you get on there at teepublic.com/user/virtual-cantina for all your Star Warsian t-shirt needs without being directly Star Warsian.
It's true. We gotta sidestep those, those lawyers. But all right, friends.
Well, how do you feel about Beru? What is your
is this the stack ranking question that I always end up failing? Listen, I'm sorry.
Hey,
I'm
you are allowed to. You don't have to rank her. You can just tell me.
All of my alarms on my house just went off at like one time, so I was like, what just happened? And it was because of a loud crack of thunder. Yeah, we're good. Nobody's breaking into my house. Right. I was literally just double checking the cameras. It was a loud crack of thunder. What just happened? Like right by a window.
Florida, stop it!
Breaking in.
Scary enough.
Enjoyed her quirkiness in the original trilogy. Mm-hmm. Loved her in Obi-Wan Kenobi. Adored her because of that short story.
It's a new level of peace.
Yeah. We've come full circle.
Full circle.
And you, just to finish up our show?
Like I said, learning what I've learned about her in the past couple of years, reading, from a certain point of view and seeing her in Obi-Wan Kenobi, honestly, I think she is the epitome of motherhood in Star Wars. She is right up there with, Brea and Leia and Hera, and just astounding. So, she's ready.
I don't have my sawed-off blaster, but I got one of these bad boys. If somebody tries breaking into that.
Dave says, "Bust open the wall, Jamie. Watch out for her." What is it? The Freddie Prinze Jr. signed Kanan lightsaber. If that thing's heavy, it will take an eye out.
That's this one. This one's still in a box. It's not doing me any good.
Oh.
It's not doing me good.
Okay.
Anyway, friends, thank you for spending your Wednesday with us. We hope that wherever you are not getting ambushed by terrible weather like we both are. We will be back in 2 weeks as we start talking about we'll be back in 2 weeks. We will not be in the first week of May. The schedule's going to get a little bit janky as we keep moving forward, but we hope you had fun with us tonight. Thank y'all so much for spending your Wednesday with us, and we will see you in 2 weeks with another episode.
May the force be with you.
May the force be with y'all. Thank you. We'll see you soon.